Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. This is Rishabh from Ascending Techie, and today we are going to talk about the Raspberry Pi and whether it can be used as a daily computer or not. The model that I have here is the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, which was their flagship when I got it. Since then, the Raspberry Pi 4 models have launched, which are much more powerful in terms of hardware than the 3B Plus. I've been using it for 2 weeks now, and these are the things that you need to know. So first, how was I using it? I used the Pi total bare bones just like it comes out of the pack, without any case or even heat sinks for that matter. So without the case, the Pi has some sharp metal tips at the bottom which can very easily scratch any surface. On my table where I used to place it, that place is really scratched out. So I actually would recommend buying their official case from Amazon, which only costs 191 rupees. At the time of writing this script, I'm using Genie to edit a text file with music playing on VLC Media Player from a USB on a Raspbian OS with temps hovering around 51 to 52 degrees, which is very nice, and depending on your use case, you might not need to buy a heatsink. If your temps are staying below 85 degrees with whatever you are doing, you don't need to buy a heatsink, especially for the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. I found this Python script which I run from the terminal to monitor the temps. I'll link it below as well. For the power adapter, I'm using the default charger that came with the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1, which is a 5V 2A charger. But it turns out that it is not enough, and I usually get a low voltage warning on my screen. Then, do you need a memory card or a USB stick to run your Pi? Answer is you can use either depending on what OS you plan to install. Some OS support booting from USB while some don't. So right now I'm using Raspbian from a USB, and the performance seems similar to that of the micro SD card. The micro SD card is a safe bet because that is how the Pi is intended to use. It would also keep one of your USB port empty in case you need it. My recommendation is to buy a 16 GB micro SD card, which you can use as a dedicated memory storage system for your Pi. You could also buy a SSD and use it as a boot drive to improve your performance. Let's talk about the OS. I've tried Raspbian OS 32-bit version, Ubuntu Mint 64-bit version, and Chromium OS 32-bit version. If you're using any model inferior than the Raspberry Pi 4GB version, then I would recommend you to steer clear of the 64-bit version. With the 64-bit version and the low voltage issue that I mentioned, my peripherals couldn't be powered and it would also become non-responsive. So sticking with 32-bit would be your best bet. Let's come to the daily usage then. Chromium OS is fine if you want the Chrome OS feel, but I didn't get the Google Photos and Keep Notes web apps already loaded. So technically the only thing useful in that OS is the browser, which isn't a full-on system with terminal, so that's a no-go. It also works only with micro SD card and can't boot using USB. So let's talk about Raspbian OS then. You can boot this from both a micro SD card and a USB, which is a huge plus point. The OS also has a bookshelf which can be useful for a beginner to learn about the Raspberry Pi and the things they could do with it. The terminal works smooth, and there's also this Minecraft Pi version that you can play with friends while also using terminal to code things in the Minecraft world, which is a great way to teach kids how to code. Then there's the browser. When you use a browser, you need to be mindful of how many tabs you have open because we have limited resources. Also, watching YouTube at 1080p might be a little bit of issue, but at 720p it was working fine. I'd recommend not opening more than 6 to 8 tabs unless they are all very light websites. So who is this for? The Raspberry Pi is intended for a wide range of people, from beginners to professionals. It would make a great gift for a kid that wants a computer to learn coding and also get familiar with Linux. You could also use this as a daily computer if you don't want to spend 20 or 30,000 rupees on a basic laptop. If you only want to use this to check mail and to do a little bit of coding. All you need is a mouse, a keyboard and a screen to go with it, which can be very easily achieved under 10,000 rupees. rupees. If you have any other questions, you can feel free to comment them down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, be kind to everyone.